Thank you, Minister. Firstly, I'm exceptionally humbled and honoured to be joining an amazing team at the Department of Health and specifically the Vaccine Task Force. Specifically for me, joining a number of other Defence members and the Vaccine Operations Centre who are working in close partnership with both the states and the territories to make sure that we can safely, efficiently and effectively deliver the vaccines across Australia when they're needed. I have to say, in the 3 weeks I've been part of the Vaccine Operations Centre, I've been completely impressed with what I've seen. Not only the dedication and the hours, which are far exceed what I would have expected, but also the collegiate nature in which all the team is working together. As you'd expect, the logistics effort required to roll out the vaccines is the largest that we have undertaken of a similar nature in the country. And whilst it is complex, we have one very simple mission: to make sure that we can get the vaccines that we have available around the country when and where they're required to protect our most vulnerable Australians. And that's what we're focused on doing every single day. To that end, we have three primary focuses at the moment. The first one is to continue supporting current delivery methods and mechanisms and making sure that we get those doses around Australia. The second one is our forward planning to implement any of the operational changes that come as a result of the National Cabinet that the Minister spoke to. And the third one is, as you'd expect, to continue to refine and improve our processes to make sure that we are getting better every single day and that we are able to sustainably support more than 5,000 sites across Australia, that we can reach into over 2,500 residential aged care facilities and over 6,000 residential disability facilities. I've been asked to provide a regular operational update, and I'd like to give my first one today. I'll cover in three elements. Firstly, dealing with supply. I'll then talk to distribution, and then I'll talk to the administering of the vaccines. In terms of supply, we've continued to see our onshore reception of the Pfizer vaccine, and we've continued to see our onshore production of the CSL manufactured AstraZeneca vaccine. Over the coming days, the Therapeutic Goods Administration will be conducting batch testing on approximately 173,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine and 468,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Over the coming months, we expect to see a steady increase in both the onshore production of the AstraZeneca and the shipping of the Pfizer vaccines. In terms of the distribution of the vaccines, I think the first point to make around distribution is that we distribute every vaccine that is supplied to us, with the exception of an appropriate contingency, which the Minister has previously spoken to. Again, I talked about the complexity of the distribution of the vaccines due to three primary elements. The first one is the temperature-specific nature of the vaccines. And again, I was talking to my family last night about it. It's two very, very different vaccines, and the difference is being able to transport ice versus being able to transport cold water. So we're dealing with the ability to try and transport those over large distances over a very large country. Having said that, with the support of our partners DHL and Linfox, we distributed nearly 600,000 doses of that vaccine across Australia last week, and this week we're on track to slightly increase that again. In addition to those doses, which were about 3,500 specific orders, we also undertook 3,500 orders of consumables, those other elements required to make sure that we can administer the vaccines, and that included a large number of vaccines delivered over the weekend to make sure that we're ready to administer this week. As I said, the focus in the distribution side over the coming weeks will be to continue to improve our processes and importantly improve our communication flows to make sure that we are effectively communicating to all those sites receiving both the consumables and the doses of vaccine. In terms of administration, again, the Minister talked to the increase over the last 4 weeks in the primary care sites. We now have over 4,500 primary care sites on board, in addition to nearly 500 sites with the states and territories. The primary care sites in particular, again, managed to vaccinate over 46,000 people yesterday, which is outstanding. And the total number, as the Minister talked to, was just over 67,000. In parallel with the distribution that we're doing and the states and territories, our focus at the moment is on completing the just over 2,500 residential aged care facilities, of which we've completed 1,341 of those with the first dose and 749 with the second dose, having now visited over 2,000 homes for vaccinations. Last week, we administered 330,000 doses of vaccine to, again, our most vulnerable Australians. An analysis of that data over the weekend indicates strong ongoing uptake and use by the cohort of 50 and over, and as you'd expect, a reduction in the under 50 numbers due primarily to a number of necessary cancellations based on the recent advice. Based on the changes that may or may not come from National Cabinet this week, as I alluded to in my opening comments, our focus will be on ensuring we can operationalise any of those changes, and importantly that means making sure we communicate to all Australians and they all have surety about how they can access a vaccine and which vaccine is the one that they'll need to access. Again, I'll reinforce that critically yesterday we enabled over 67,000 vulnerable Australians to be vaccinated, and that remains our focus every day of the week. Thank you.